All right, you guys, we are super excited to have our special guest today, Janell Vela Smith with Iron Dragon TV, Iron Dragon Productions.
Iron Dragon Productions, IDTV.
IDTV. Okay, so I think you're going to be talking to somebody about distribution while we're here today. So give it up for distribution. And she's joined by Miss Laura-Perez. Perez?
Yes.
My sign knows sometimes I'm not, you guys, I'm not great with enunciations. I'm very white. I don't know if you can tell. But so now, how do you guys know each other?
Many years. Yeah. We go back many years.
Doing
And we're
films,
doing
colleagues.
film. Yes.
Yes.
Supporters of each other.
I love it.
She's been a mentor of mine for a really long time.
She's been a mentor of mine.
Use the mics.
Can't hear you. Use the mics. Use the mics.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you. Whoever, James, was that you?
Thank
Okay. And you guys, we've got the Keiths back. Keith-vitali and Keith-strandberg. So we have legends of stunts up here on the panel today, you guys. Not only are they legends of stunts, but they are people who have actually produced movies that have been on big screens. So they're going to be here talking to us today about distribution, production, little tips and tricks, and how to make sure you keep falling up the stairs. All right, you guys, give a big hand to our guests.
Thank you. What an introduction. Thank you so much. Okay, so once again, I'm Janelle. Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm just off the heels of Comic-Con.
Oh.
So I was at a panel about indie filmmaking at Comic-Con, and I wasn't ready for that. I was a kid in a candy store. I'm like, oh my gosh, too much to look at, too many things moving. You know, I had to get a picture with every Mandalorian, every stormtrooper. I stopped them. I need a picture. So yeah, anyway, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys are here today because we are here for you, the filmmaker. We are also filmmakers. I think we all have a little bit of knowledge to share on our individual experiences going into filmmaking, producing, stunt coordinating as well. You know, that's a fun part of all this. I know you've got a lot of stories. So, let's get started. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves again and just kind of what your background is.
Sure. My name is Laura-Perez. I am a director, writer, producer, filmmaker. And also do a lot of line producing. So I know a lot about budgets and how much it takes to make a movie. Just bottom line it. On the lower spectrum, I specialize in independent films when I line produce. So anything like $350,000 and below is kind of the field that I work in.
Okay, good job. And I'm Keith number 1. This is Keith number 2 next to me. Keith-strandberg, writer and producer. I had a career quite a long time ago making 10 movies with seasonal film, all features, all theatrical, and now back into the independent feature film market again. So great to be here.
Hi, I'm Keith-vitali, and I've had the privilege to work with Keith-strandberg on a few films, and I was very fortunate to be a martial arts fighter, competitor, and appeared on some magazines, and I was discovered by Canon Films, and so I was very fortunate to star in my first film. It had a theatrical release for my first film called Revenge of the Ninja, which started the ninja craze, and then my second film was Wheels on Mills with Jackie Chan. So I was very blessed before I started working with Keith and did other films. So I have some knowledge of stunt fighting. Keith and I taught stunt fighting an academy 10 years in New York. We bring talented people in. My favorite thing is when I do see a stunt fighter to double me. If you watched the movie last night, it was fun to pick out every time I was doubled in the film. That's one of the things I like to do. So I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you might have.
Okay, well, let's get right to it. So this talk today, I know we can, talk about producing. I'd like to focus a little bit on from producing your next steps into distribution. And I'm going to ask that first question to Laura, since we were just chatting about, we saw each other at AFM this past AFM. So I'll let you go first.
So, as a producer, especially producing low budget films, my first feature, we shot for 25,000, and was able to take it out and get that sold. Back in the day, we distributed that through Blockbuster, Walmart, and Target. So that should date me and give you an idea of how long ago that was. But one of the things that I've learned in being in this business for 20 years is that you can make a low budget film and get it sold. You can distribute it. You can get it sold to a distributor or a studio. Probably my biggest piece of advice after going to AFM, I have a film coming out next year that I wrote, produced, and directed that we shot. I won't tell you for how much because we're in talks right now for distribution. But the lower you shoot your independent film for, the better chances you have of selling it now in this kind of environment distribution that we're in. So if you're a filmmaker out there and you've made your own films that are screening this weekend, or if you're going to make a film, my best piece of advice if you want to sell your film is make it as cheap as possible. I took 10 meetings at AFM for my feature that's coming out next year. And the first question from every distributor that I met with at AFM was, how much did you make it for? And a lot of distributors nowadays, because of the landscape that we're in, the challenging distribution landscape that we're in, would not continue with a meeting, even if we were in the door already and sitting with them. They were honest and said, we will not continue with the meeting if you've made your movie for more than $250,000. And that is because we live in a landscape now where the minimum guarantees are so low. I know Janelle can talk a little bit more about that. And the licensing fees are so low. Even if you're talking about an Amazon licensing fee or a Netflix distribution, you're still talking about really low fees from distributors nowadays. So I don't want to monopolize all the time, but my best piece of advice for filmmakers out there is make your film for as little as possible. Never tell the distributors how much you actually made it for. No matter how much you made it for, tell them you made it for $250. I made mine for a lot less than $250, but don't tell anybody. Exactly, don't tell anybody. But that's just kind of the world that we're in. And Janelle has had her own distribution channel for a while now, and she's seen kind of how that landscape has changed and how it's challenging filmmakers even more to get their work out there. But there are other avenues to actually get your film out there besides selling it to a conventional distributor the way me and my partners have done for our film. So there are a lot of options, and the world and the landscape has changed since you guys were, definitely. Yeah. So I don't know if you want them to speak a little bit more about that.
Keith, who's Keith 1? Keith 2? Keith 1, Keith 2. Okay.
Right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, same question. So just the difference.
Well, there's a huge difference because it's just blowing my mind, the numbers that we're talking. Because when we were making our movies, we couldn't shoot for less than 6 weeks, and some were even 8 weeks or 10 weeks to get the quality of the action that we got. If you saw the movie last night, you could see the sort of detail that we had. And then things started to change, and the number of days went down, the budgets went down, and now we're at infinitesimal budgets. But my biggest piece of advice, I think, is to do something that's unique. She says to make it for as low as you can, but I think make it for the highest quality that you can, and do something different. My first picture, No Retreat, No Surrender, was the first movie to combine American story with Hong Kong action, and it really changed the landscape of martial arts cinema, and that's what made No Retreat, No Surrender so special. So I think you got to find something special, make it for as best as you can, for as little as you can. Absolutely. And then never tell anybody how much you get.
I'm dumbfounded. I'm learning all of this really for the first time as well, because Keith and I, we produced films. We took them to the film festivals like Milan, Cannes film festivals. And one of the movies I did, I was the bad guy in a movie called Superfights. And then we took it to Milan, and then we sold it to the foreign buyers, and the room was packed. They show the film, and then they're all in line to set up a meeting to buy the film. And that's just for foreign sales. Then we had DVD sales and blockbusters and all of those for VHS. And then you had your theatrical. It's all changed. And so I think what you have to do is think with the end goal in mind, not just making a movie, but getting your distribution set up first, maybe, and finding out as much information you can before you invest a lot of money in a film, and then find out you can't get a return on your investment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
I think that's really wise. Yeah, just going back to doing your homework. We were talking earlier about my streaming network, and I didn't choose to do that. It kind of just organically happened. But the more research I did, I realized, okay, this is, by the way, I sold my first channel, Iron Dragon TV. I sold that a few years ago. And then I decided I wanted to get back into streaming and provide a streaming platform for indie filmmakers. But there's the streaming world right now is crazy. There's so many streaming platforms. So that's a good and bad for the filmmaker, because you as indie filmmakers, what I would suggest is that you get your project in front of as many streamers as possible. Of course, first distribution. And then you can self-distribute your project. It's going to require a little bit more work, but also you kind of have to market your project too. You have to be able to know how to be a good salesperson. So I think that's another key thing. And you're fresh off the heels of your film. Why don't you talk about that?
Sure. Definitely one of the things that I've learned after selling my first feature that I made for $25,000, and then this one we're in talks for distribution, we have several offers, is no matter how much you made your film for, you have to perfect your pitch, and you have to be ready to package that baby like it's the best thing that ever hit the television or streaming network or the screen. And you want to be ready with your pitch. How many of you out there have a completed film that you're trying to sell? 1, 2. Do I just count 2? I can't see back there.
I know it's
3, possibly 3. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. How many of you that have completed a film are looking to sell it? Of those 3, all of you, or are you're trying to sell your film? I saw you're trying to sell your film. Fantastic. Okay, so one of the things that I think now that your film is completed and you're screening it at film festivals, if you don't already have a pitch packet, if you don't already have a pitch deck, that would be the next thing I highly recommend that you have in hand and have perfected and ready to send to anybody that you meet. It could be at a film festival. You don't know who you might run into that might have a connection or that might be looking for content. So you want to have that pitch deck ready, and you want to make sure that it's perfect, and you want to perfect your elevator pitch. My partner and I, before we took this film, my feature, The Place in Between, it's coming out next year, we practiced our pitch. We got to the hotel a couple days early. We had some work to do, and we just practiced our pitch over and over. You practice to different audiences. You practice with different friends who will give you honest feedback. And you just want to make sure that you get your film ready to sell in a way that puts you in the prime position when you talk to a distributor. So if you don't know how to make a pitch packet, there's some resources online that you can look up. Canva is my savior. I've done everything on Canva, everything to prepare for festivals, to prepare for AFM, every pitch meeting that I've taken. Every distributor that I've had a meeting with on Zoom after the fact, my pitch decks and everything that I prepare visually is on Canva. So there's a lot of free resources out there too that you can use to create for that. But definitely have your pitch packet ready if you're trying to sell your film.
That's really good feedback. Yes. Can I ask you, so have you guys been to AFM, or did you start? Okay.
No,
Tell
we've been
us.
to all the
Okay.
film markets.
Okay.
But I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying, is that because there's so many streaming platforms and it's so much easier to make a movie now. When we started, it was 35 millimeter film. There was a barrier to entry that stopped most people from making features. Now, pretty much anybody with an iPhone can make a feature, which is both good and bad. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. It means there's a lot of crap out there. So if you can be ready, like she said, with your pitch deck, you can hone your film, you can do all the homework, you'll stand out above everybody else. Because a lot of people come to these meetings unprepared. They don't know the business. They don't know much about anything, but they show up thinking that somebody's just going to buy their film. So do as much as you can beforehand, even before you shoot it. Have your pitch deck ready before you shoot it. So a lot of, yes.
And something we never did before was what we're seeing tonight is that people are creating, producing reels, short films, so they can have not only their package ready, but a short film to show the producer or the distributor or a studio or whomever or an investor. And a lot of times you'll do something like, you'll put X amount of money into shooting a short video, and then you present that to an investor, and you go, here's my package. The hard part of dealing with any investor is investor goes, I like your star, I like your short video, I like your production, your package, I like it all. How am I getting my money back? And that's their number one question. How do I get a return? And that's what you have to be able to answer. And that's why I'm thinking maybe first work with the distributor and having those avenues when you tell them these are the paths I'm going to take. And it's a little bit more difficult, but now with AI is replacing a lot of different categories. I have good friends in the stunt business. Jeff Pruitt, wonderful friend. I'm with him every week, and he's scared to death because the Stunt Association, they're worried because the new SAG contracts, you can sign with a company, but then they can use your likeness for other films, and they can just create you in other films without paying you, and they create it all through AI. So it's a different field, and like Keith was saying, we were in the heyday of martial arts films, bigger budget, bigger distribution packages overseas. You get your money back from overseas just by itself. So a lot of it, and especially Blockbuster and all the different video stores, you were guaranteed X amount of money. And it used to be star-driven. I don't think it's star-driven any longer. Now it's the amount of money that you invest into the film, like you were saying, Laura. So, but if you can find a film, in a star, I don't think how it hurts because people still like to see a recognizable name in your film.
Yeah, and we, when we went to the film markets, we usually took a completed film. But with King of the Kickboxers, we only took a 10-minute scissor reel, first time we ever did it. And that movie made the most money we've ever made since No Retreat, No Surrender. But I wanted to come back to you and ask you the question,
Okay.
how do you get the money back?
I wish I knew. No. So as we were talking, because it's a different world now with all the streaming platforms, you still want to try to get a distributor, one distributor. If you're not able to sign with someone, there is Film Hub. There's a few different avenues where you can go and upload your content there. And I've heard they pay, pretty well. I'm not sure what the percentage is there. But what you come across is, once again, there's so much content. Content is still king, but there is a lot of content. And what's going to make yours different is the marketing, and how you pitch your project, whatever it is, how you market it, how you get it in front of people. I think with social media and all of these streaming platforms, you can be creative. I'm actually trying to reach out to a few like social media, Instagram like stars. Yeah, influencers. There you go. Influencers to partner, to help with your project. So get creative. I think that's the main takeaway is there's so many different avenues. And I'm just one. IDTV Flix, my streaming network, is here for the independent filmmaker. I want to make it profitable for all of us because I feel like if it's a win-win, it's good for you, it's good for us, and the network grows. And hopefully we have a budget to put into more films later. But right now what we do is SVOD, subscription-based. So that's how my platform is set up. And AVOD, we have ads as well. But if you have any more questions about IDTV Flix, and I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to win that. So that'll be exciting. Moving on. So let's talk a little bit more about the marketing side of your project.
Sure. So one of the things that I think I learned the hard way after living in LA for a while, and I've pitched everything that you can imagine. I've pitched reality shows, TV shows, scripted shows, you name it, when I was in LA. And one of the things that I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned is that vanity projects get you nowhere. And so one of the things I wanted to mention for aspiring filmmakers that are out there, When you decide on the script or you want to write your script, if it's something you just want to make for fun, you want to show your friends or family, you have a little family reunion, you know, show it, everybody claps and is proud of you, and you can put it on the shelf, go make a vanity project. But if you want to make a project that can sell, I highly recommend, aside from the marketing, that you pitch it to as many people as possible in different environments and from different backgrounds, and have people that you trust. I know Janell's someone that I trust, that I can, you know, bounce things off of. Make sure you have a sellable idea that you want to make. Because it's so hard making a film. It's so hard making a movie. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. And you don't want to go through all that time and effort to make something that you know you can't sell. So on the marketing side, if you have something that's not just a vanity project that you can sell, you want to boost the marketability of that. And the way you boost the marketability of that nowadays, I know it's different for you guys because you guys just showed up and sold your movies. But for us independent filmmakers, having comps for your movies is key. So one of the things that happened at AFM was I'd walk in the door with different distribution channels, and the first question was, what was your budget? And if I checked that box off, which was usually $250 or less. Now, don't get me wrong. There's distributors out there that if you have people, you have names in your film, you have name actors, that's a different conversation. I want to make it clear that I'm trying to appeal to people that are making films like me that have no name actors in them. But you want to be able to make it marketable by being able to tell your distributor what your film is like. For example, The Place in Between, for us, we pitched it as a Little Miss Sunshine meets Juno. You need at least 2 comps, and you stick with those comps and you stand behind them and be able to tell those distributors why your film is comparable to those 2 other films. Without that, you're not really creating a visual for your film. And so I would argue that even before you make your film, know what your comps are, which when I wrote The Place in Between, I knew I wanted to write it in the vein of Little Miss Sunshine meets Juno. So everything I did from the beginning of writing it, producing it, shooting it, editing it, directing it, was in the vein of those 2 films. So when it was done, I got to go to AFM and stick to my comps and say, I have this feature film. It's a mom-daughter road trip movie. It's in the vein of Juno meets Little Miss Sunshine. It's got this kind of humor. It has this kind of feel. It's got this kind of soundtrack. It looks like this. And so you want to create a visual for everyone that you're trying to market your film to, your audience, the distributors, people you're trying to sell to. You want to make sure in that marketing pitch, you're giving people a visual of what they're going to see. Because I'll admit it, we're flooded with so much information. We are flooded with so much content. You have to kind of feed your look and feel of your film to anyone you want to sell it to, pitch it to, show it to. So on the marketing side, I would say that your biggest asset is having your comps. So if you just made your film and it's screened and you don't know what your comps are, go figure them out ASAP. Is that a question?
Yeah, that's a question.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell me what comps is?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I apologize.
Good
That was
question.
my fault. Fantastic question. Comps are comparables. So comparable films that you feel are in the same look, vein, feel as your film. So
Kind of like an inspiration.
inspiration. Yeah, that's exactly it. And the reason why distributors want to know this, especially in your, and I have my comps in my pitch packet, is because what they do is they want to go back and look at how those particular films did, how they sold, whether it was domestic, worldwide, and even now if they are sold digitally, they want to see what those numbers look like to see how your film might perform if it's in the same kind of look, vein, or feel.
So it's kind of like similar to like pitch deck and vision board sort of way.
That's right.
Got it.
Yeah. And you want to feed that to the distributors, because if you go to something like AFM or any kind of market, they take meetings every 15 minutes. So you only have 15 minutes to wow them. And then 15 minutes after you're done, somebody else is trying to wow them. So you want to make sure that you stand out and you have your comparable films ready to sell to them, so that if they like the comparable films that you're pitching, then they'll likely like your film as well. Is that helpful? Okay, great, fantastic. Do y'all have anything to add?
Well, let me
Keith?
It's not so much as marketing, but one way that other filmmakers are kind of handling the situation of how do you raise funds is through Kickstarter. I don't know if you've ever heard of Kickstarter before. I just finished a film with Cynthia Rothrock, who's a major martial arts female star around the world, and she produced a movie called Black Creek. And she had an idea that she would raise all the money, and what she did was she contacted martial artists around the country, around the world, and said, if you'd like to be in the film, it costs you this much. So she charged people. She had a menu, like a restaurant menu. If you want to work with the directors, X amount of dollars. If you want to work with producers, X amount of dollars. If you want to be in the film, it's this much. If you want to be a stunt fighter. And then she had about 100 people that put money in her Kickstarter so she could raise the funds to do her movie. And I was on that film, and I'm telling you, I didn't hear one disgruntled person. Every single person thanked her for allowing them to pay her to be in the film. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. But she had to market it and get it distributed. It just came out on Amazon. I go, in 3 weeks, I go to the Czech Republic. They're paying me to go there, flying me out there, because they're premiering Black Creek in Czech Republic. Because I was in that film. So Cynthia Rothrock, Keith Cook, and I, and others are flying out there for that. So that's so novel. That's so different. So that's something that a lot of people are thinking about doing. One thing she did also is, most of you here are martial artists or somehow connected to martial arts. They just found people that had made films or were well known in the martial arts to be attached to their film. And so she reached out and she got Don Wilson and Keith Cook. She got all these Richard Norton, Benny Urquidez. Each person she got had about 75 to 100 films under their own belts. So she brought all of them, and they all have their, I guess, respective people, their fan base. So she was really smart putting this together, but I think that's a novel idea, and I think others are going to follow that, because the fact is that some people don't care about being a stunt fighter or an actor, but they want to be behind the camera. Mm-hmm. So this gave them the opportunity to work with the director or the stunt coordinator, Mike Moeller from Germany, or the producer. And so they got a chance to work with the cinematographer. And it was like going to film school. You pay to go to film school. Why wouldn't you pay to go to a set and actually learn how to make a movie and then be in the movie? And I can see that just makes more sense to me to go be in a movie and pay for it to be in the movie than go to film school where some professor's telling you how to do it. So that's another avenue for people to take at the same time.
Yes, academic is never like real life.
Exactly.
That is and it does not matter what career you pick. It is that way. Okay, last question.
Wait, I just wanted to add one more thing. I just met these ladies, but they're very nice. Most people in Hollywood are not very nice.
No, that's true.
So be prepared when you have these meetings, because, it's almost like they had a hard time coming up, so they think they need to give new people a hard time. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for rejection, and not just by your partner, but not just by your husband or wife, but be prepared for rejection. And it's very rare to find people like these guys that are open and nice and willing to help. Most people are looking out for themselves, and they won't help you.
Yeah, everyone's
true. That's true.
Everyone's tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Oh, I was like, I don't think I've heard of that. That's a good one.
I can't take credit for it. Okay, last question for Miss Janell Vela Smith.
So you talked about comps. Are there any other must-haves in your pitch deck that you're gotta have this, gotta have that? Just a couple
question.
others maybe that you think would help sell.
Sure.
Product.
I think you said something, Keith, number one, that was fantastic that I wanted to echo. You want to be original in some way. You want to stand out. And I feel like even if I had all the check marks in my pitch deck, if I didn't find something, for example, our film has a soundtrack with all original Texas musicians, all original Texas songs that were written by Texas musicians. So we highlight that. So you need to find something special that's extraordinary about your film, that's original. And we walked in the door with that sometimes, like, Oh, you're gonna watch our movie. Do you like music? Oh, you like music, really? Because our film has all original music, you know. Or maybe your film is about Rubik's cubes. You know, oh, I have the most interesting Rubik's Cube you've ever seen before. Like, it's in my movie. Do you like Rubik's Cube? So you want to find that one thing that's extraordinary about your film, or even you. Like, maybe you're a retired NFL star or something. You want to find something that makes you stand out from the crowd, because they get so many pitches. AFM was a 3-day pitch event, and these distributors took meetings every 15 minutes. So do the math on that. Yeah.
I know, as someone who's looking for content, that's exactly it. I look for something that's a little bit different and something that's going to be unique. So, yeah, that's really key.
Good question.
Don't be boring, you guys. Don't be boring.
Yes, don't be boring.
Okay, final words of wisdom, encouragement.
I'm here for you guys, so I'll be hanging out for a little bit if you have any more questions, but I'm going to turn it over to these guys.
The veterans. I said my last words.
I think the most important thing that I look for, that I'm excited about as a filmmaker myself, is I look for people who are passionate about their projects. You know, I just love passion. I just met James over here. He writes, produces, stars. Nathan Gearing, Alan Delaby from France has new movies out. All these different people. And I'm just captivated by their passion. And that's what you have to have, because like Keith said, there's going to be a lot of rejection, but you have to look past that, because most of them are idiots. Oh, no, they don't know anything. I swear, nobody knows anything. But you know best, because it's your project. And you keep pushing that, and you'll be successful one day.
Good advice.
And I also think, harking back to just being nice. You know, people want to work with people that they like.
Yeah.
They want to work with people where it's a pleasure to work with. A small story. I was at the Cannes Film Festival, and I had a guy walk in, very arrogant, comes in, he says, "I got this great movie, and I want you guys to make it." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" He says, "I can't tell you. If I tell you, you're going to steal it. But it's the greatest movie ever." I was like, "Thanks very much. There's the door." No, you just got to be nice. You got to want people to want to work with you, and it's always a pleasure to work with people that you like.
True. All right, what's next?
All good advice, yes. So, yeah, I think we're all going to be here for a little bit.
hanging around.
Yeah, we're going to be here. So thank you, guys. If you have more questions, just find us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Big round of applause for our guests. Learning us some stuff. Okay, you guys.